let's get started. So, how many of your ideas have actually become a reality? And perhaps you're thinking, honestly, mm, not that many. Maybe that's why you're here. So, if that's your case, you're in the perfect spot. And I guarantee you that everything that you're going to learn today is going to help you to have a better structure. So we're going to have quick introductions and then we're gonna jump right into the content. So we're going to talk about a key business structure and that's the framework that we're going to use to develop your idea. And we're going to learn about the marketing mix and the strategic planning, and then we're going to talk about some next steps. Okay, so I think some of you already know me, but some of you don't. So I'm just going to give a quick overview about me and why you should be listening to me. So I'm Alina, I'm a marketer, a teacher, and a student. I've always been a student and I always want to be a student. I'm also a wife, a friend, and I think I have here some of my most amazing friends. So thank you for being here. And I also consider myself a proud outsider. Yes, I love Mondays. I love rainy days. I love to pay bills. It's kind of weird, but I'll tell you more about that later. And I'm the creator of Women Who Market. So, Women Who Market, it's a marketing club that we're committed 100% to helping people find their gift, find their talent, find the thing that they want to do in their own way. That's more on the personal side. On the professional side, and why should I be teaching you about marketing? I have 12 years of experience in marketing, 8 of those working specifically in B2B with tech companies, and 5 of those specifically on account-based marketing. I also have a master's in business administration with a concentration in marketing, which gives me these certifications to teach at a college level. And I actually was the adjunct professor at the University of Tampa teaching marketing. I've been in the US for 18 years, but in case that you're wondering about my accent, yes, I was born and raised in Medellin, Colombia. Okay, so how can you take the most advantage of this class? The first thing is that I want you, and if you don't have it in front of you, I want you to go and get a piece of paper and a pen because I want you to write down that idea that you have. You join this class because you have something that you want to develop. Maybe you want to get a second source of income, or you want to change jobs, or you want to start a business, or you want to get a promotion, whatever idea you have. I want you to please write it down because then by writing it down, everything else that we're going to discuss is going to make more sense versus if you're thinking more in a general way. So right now, I'm actually going to write down my idea, which is develop my brand, Alina's brand, right? I have an idea that I want to develop, which is my brand. So that's what I'm going to write down. Okay. So then I hope that you're also writing down your idea. Then the next thing that we're going to do to truly take advantage of this class is that I want you that just for the sake of the class, I want you to change your mindset and assume that you are a company. You may not have a company right now. You may never want to start a business, but I want you to see yourself as an enterprise because an enterprise or a company is actually the voluntary association of people who together carry out activities to reach a goal. And that's what you want to do. You want to partner with yourself to carry out activities to reach your goal. So if you see yourself as a company, that automatically gives you a boost that, hey, I'm committed with someone else to reach a goal. And then the second thing that I want you to do just for this exercise, so that we can truly transform your idea to reality, is to give yourself the title of marketing director. And it sounds fancy, but it's actually very cool and very powerful because by doing that, you are being responsible for creating and managing your own strategy, creating and managing that idea. And by you assuming that title, the director role, then you are not going to leave others their responsibility of making your idea a reality. So your idea is yours. It's not your family, it's not your boss, it's not your coworkers, it's not your friends, right? So if you take ownership of that, then it's going to be easier to start taking action. So to really, the first step to really start taking an idea from an idea to reality is those things. Write it down, put it on papers, that way you can see it. And then we're just going to assume that you are a company that are carrying out a professional endeavor with yourself and that you're taking ownership and managing that strategy. Perfect. So now with the basis straight, we're going to talk about the key business structure. What is a key business structure? It's a framework that will give a structure to your ideas. And I added this quote here because I absolutely love it. It says, freedom comes from a structure. And it's interesting because sometimes if you think of freedom, you think very abstract and very free, like the name says, and a structure is something very rigid. However, whenever we have a baseline, a structure, a framework, whenever we know the rules, whenever we know what is our play field, that actually is going to empower us to know, okay, this is the base. From here, this is where I could go, and it will give you that confidence to go and make it happen. So I love this. I don't know who said it. I've been looking on Google and I haven't been able to find the answer, but I know that somebody very smart said it. I didn't say it. But think about that. Freedom comes from structure. So that's what we're going to talk about, this amazing structure that is composed of two parts and five P's, so that you can remember. Two parts and five P's. So the first part is the four P's of marketing. And a lot of you maybe have heard the term marketing mix, which is the same thing as the four P's of marketing, which is the combination of product, price, place, and promotion that you carry out to sell a product that benefits the consumer. So we're going to talk about these four P's. And then the second part of this structure is the one P of business. Do you know what is the one P of business? I'm going to tell you right now. People. People. That is the foundation. That is the basic, the core. So with that in mind, which these are things that have been around forever, I came up with this, which is the key business structure. And I decided to choose a tree because it's the perfect illustration of that idea that you have, that maybe just started with a seed, something small, but you wanted to grow, right? Just like a tree. So on the visible part, on the things that we see, I added the marketing mix because those are the more tangible, easy things to associate with. But then at the bottom, it is the foundation. No tree is gonna grow nice and strong and is going to last and stand weathers and times and harsh conditions if it doesn't have a strong foundation, right? So in business or in your idea, that strong foundation must be people. I don't care about technology. I don't care about how the world is going. Everything could evolve tremendously. But guess what? You and I are still here and will always be here. And we are key in order to get things moving, right? So that's why if you don't have the foundation correctly, if you don't understand you as a leader, if you don't know who is your target audience or your customers, who is your tribe, your people that are going to help you, your partners, and who are your competitors, that's also part that makes that foundation strong, then that's what's going to help start making that little leaf into something bigger and bigger and bigger, making it into a nice and big tree like we see here. So this is the structure. You have already a handout that has this structure and has all the information, but I also hope that you are writing it down. So let's review each of them. So the first one is the product. I always recommend to always start with the product. So what is the product? That idea, in my case, was to develop my brand or your business. That thing that you want to do, that idea, that is your product. Always start with that and start thinking about all the features, benefits, branding, the packaging, how does it look, how do you present it, what is the customer service, all those details that make that idea, that product, that service unique. Also, what are the challenges that that idea is going to solve for someone? Because anything that you do, even if it's idea for yourself, then in my case, I want to develop my brand. What is the challenge? Well, that I want to do many things and I want to start consolidating that brand. So that's my challenge. And by writing those things down, then it's going to help me develop my key business structure even deeper and deeper until I get into that nice tree. So the first thing is always to start with the product. The second thing is the price. Yes, and this is something that especially women, we sometimes don't take into consideration. And I'm the perfect example of it because for the longest, I didn't want to charge for my services, for example. I was uncomfortable, or I was uncomfortable asking for a raise or things like that. But the price is your competitive weapon, and it's key to your idea because it's directly tied to revenue, whatever that means. It could be even saving time, which also represents benefits, represents revenue. So that idea, it has actually two prices. The price, if you're selling something, how much am I going to charge? But also, if you are giving up something or if you want to develop something, what is that investment? How much time is going to take me to develop that idea, or how much money I have to put into research or into educating myself or into investing in other resources that help me get to where I want to be. But the price is a very important part of that. And I said that is your competitive weapon because it's the most flexible P that you can manage depending on what's happening in the market, depending on what's happening with your own finances, depending on what's happening with your competitors. The price is something that is the most flexible thing to change. And so that's why it's a very good weapon. And probably I shouldn't use the word weapon. I think I'm gonna change it for later. Then the third P is place. And this is how and where your customers will get your product or service, or how and when you are going to develop that idea, right? So, how are you going to deliver it? Where is it available? Also, think about supply chain and distribution. Right now, yes, we're in a virtual world. For example, in my case, I was hosting this session and I needed to find a tool that it was affordable yet easy for people to use. And I started because I wanted to be global and I want everybody from everywhere in the world to join. So knowing that, what was my place? Then by knowing that, then I had to go and look for tools that will fit those needs. So when you're developing your idea, it's also important to think about locations, times, availabilities, supply chain, all these type of things. And then the last part of the P is the promotion. And as I said, the last part of the P, however, most of people, and especially when it comes to marketing and developing an idea, a product, a business unit, launching something, they automatically think marketing, promotion, oh, social media, the video, the event, this and that. And yes, that's important. However, it's only 1/4 of the entire marketing mix. And this is a very fun and important part because this is where you put your creativity to work, and you can start thinking about advertising ideas, social media, flyers. You can be very creative about how you promote your service. However, if you don't have your product, your price, and your distribution or your placement organized, how are you going to roll out a really good promotion without those things? So I don't want you, because especially when people have an idea, they come a lot to me, oh, I want to start a business or I want to do this. And they immediately say, oh, yes, I need help with social media. That's like the perfect example. And yes, social media is a powerful tool to promote your business or your idea. But then when I start asking about what is your business about, what is the challenge that it's solving, who is the audience, when I start asking all these questions, then a lot of empty spaces start showing up. And that's why sometimes promotions and advertising is not as successful, because all the other portions are not organized. So this is a very fun portion, but it's not the entire portion of developing your idea. So I have here an example, because I told you that my example was to develop my brand. So I just have here a very simple example, I hope, that can help you put into practice the 4 Ps of marketing. So what is your product? It's me. It's Alina. So I was very specific when I picked these words: a marketer, a teacher, a student, a wife, a friend, a business owner, and a brand outsider. I gave some thought about it. I had like a big list, but depending on my goals, which we're going to talk about that later, I was very specific on how I was going to come up with my product. What is my price? As I said before, before I was embarrassed and I felt like something about charging for my knowledge and for my services. And it was a long journey. It's not like it happened overnight, but I think growing up, maturing, getting my master's, feeling more confident with my academic, but also with my profession, and also seeing the results of the clients and the employers that I used to work for. When I will hear, oh, I implemented this and it worked, or hey, thank you for this idea. When I started believing and accepting the good things that I was doing, I said, you know what? I'm confident with what I offer, and I'm going to value my time and effort accordingly. Um, Place. So right now I'm based in Chicago, but I'm interested in Florida. I love Tampa, and other friends are there. But also my family is in Medellin and Chile. My best friend lives in Canada, and I absolutely love London. So when I think of plans or things that I want to do, not just for vacation, but also for work, I think about these cities and see how I can connect my business to these places. Therefore, that's why also the idea of launching Women Who Market as a global club came about, because I'm also interested in all these different places. So you see how you just don't pick things to pick things. You're going to start creating it based on what you ultimately want. And then for promotion, for right now, it has been just social media and word of mouth. Hopefully later I do paid advertising or public relations, but for right now, this is what I'm doing. So here you have this example, and I'm sure that maybe you are asking, okay, so you mentioned to start with the product, and then I'll just go one by one and fill out the questions based on each section. And actually the answer is not as easy as that. I do recommend starting with the product, because it's going to help you get all the other answers easier. However, the marketing mix, as the name suggests, it's a combination. It's a blend of all these different things. So it's more like you're going to do this process simultaneously. Maybe one day you are really into digging into promotions and you're inspired, and then you're going to start writing ideas about how you can promote your idea, and then you leave it like that. And maybe another day you start thinking about the place and where you want to be, because if you say, oh, I have this idea where I really want to have a physical location, well, guess what? Then if that's the place that you want to pick, your price is going to be affected. So the good thing about this is that you can start working on all of them kind of at the same time, and based on what resonates with you in one aspect, you can go and modify the other one. The key thing is that at the end, everything should make sense. Because for example, if in your product you say, I want to be known for like a luxury brand, but I'm only charging $5 for my bags, your price is not being coherent with the product that you want people to have. So that's when everything has to mix and has to combine in a good way. And that's why it sounds easy and you tell, oh, cool, yeah, so I'll just fill out the 4 Ps and then my idea is almost developed. Yes, but also all those pieces need to work together. Okay, so this is a recap for the first section. Now, as you can see, the tree is cut off because this is just one portion. Let's talk about the second portion, and that's where the other key marketing term that we were going to learn today comes into play, which is strategic planning. So strategic planning, it's that process of developing a long-term plan that outlines your goals, your objectives, and your strategies, and involves analyzing the human capital, people, understanding your target audience, studying the environment, what's happening, and also creating a roadmap, right? And honestly, all those fancy words and all these fancy terms can be concise to what I told you earlier. The foundation is people. So how are you going to know about the environment? How are you going to know about what milestones to pick or what is that roadmap that you need to outline? Well, when you study people, when you study yourself as a leader, when you study your audience, your customers, your clients, when you study your partners, who is that support system that is going to help you, your team, your family, or employees, or technology, that now technology can also be a partner or is a partner. And then who are your competitors? Who is that second choice to your idea? And a competitor, if you're talking, for example, about yourself, a competitor could also be the couch, could also be Netflix, could also be what is that other thing that I could be doing other than my idea, right? So let's just dig into each of these 4 sections and see what questions you have to ask yourself to develop the foundation of the key business structure. So the questions for the leader, and this is you. And again, I want you to answer these questions you. I don't want you to ask your friends, hey, what do you think my identity should be? Or hey, what do you think I should do? No, 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 no. You're here because you want to turn an idea into reality. So I want you to take ownership of that idea, as we discussed earlier, that you are your company and you are your marketing director. And I want you to answer these questions. So what is your identity? So here I'm thinking about nouns. I'm thinking about specific things that your idea is, right? If it's something abstract like developing a brand. So okay, what is my identity? How I want to be identified for? As a marketer, as a student, as a teacher, how do you want to be identified for? If you're a business, then I don't want anything abstract like, oh, I want to make people happy. No, like my business is okay, I want to be a company that sells ice cream. I want you to think about nouns, about things that will define your identity. Why I want nouns? Because nouns are very concrete. Once you put a name to something, there is automatically an association to that name, in your brain process that information easier because it's used. The brain already knows this name is connected to this type of definitions or this type of behaviors. Therefore, your brain doesn't have to battle thinking, oh my God, what this person wants to do. It's like, oh no, she's a marketer. Okay, she's a marketer. That's it. And that helps your thinking process. The next question that you're going to ask yourself is, what is your current positioning, or where do you want to be positioned at? Positioning is a very key marketing topic that actually our next class, the 18th of April, we're going to talk about positioning. And positioning is about what is the perception that people have about you or your brand of your business. And it's interesting because obviously if it's a perception, you cannot control it. But you can do things to influence that perception in a positive or negative way. So if you want to position yourself as a thought leader in a specific subject matter, then you're going to behave yourself in a certain way. You're going to communicate yourself in a certain way to hopefully eventually the people position yourself as the top leader in that area. So a perfect example, for example, is Starbucks. If you think of a Starbucks, you think like a high-end coffee shop. I hope, or at least that's what I think. And nowhere in the Starbucks materials you're going to read we are a high-end coffee shop. Nowhere. But everything that they do, how the stores are structured, how the store smells, how the people, the customer service that they provide, the pricing of the coffee, all those things leads you to think that they are a high-end coffee shop. So that is positioning, and it's a very powerful tool. So I want you to think, how do I want people to see myself, or this idea that I have? What type of perceptions I want people to have about this idea? And then in the next class, we're actually going to talk about positioning in detail, and I'm going to tell you exactly how we're going to put it in a map, in a grid, and how we can start working towards improving your positioning. So those are two important questions. And then we're going to talk about things that maybe you don't want, but are very important, which is your past, your present, and your future. So you as a leader, if you have an idea right now that you're really contemplating, more likely there is a story behind it. And I would like for you to dig into that story and write down what's the story that has gotten you to this point. What was that thing that sparked that idea? Just write it down. Then you're also going to do the same thing with the present. You're going to write down, okay, why now? Why am I putting time and effort into developing this idea? What is happening? What do I need? What pressures I have? What is my current motivation? And then I also want you to think about the future. If you have an idea, it's because you want to develop to eventually have a product, have a result. Um, so if that's the idea, think about the future. Get excited about that and say, okay, I'm thinking about this because I want in 2, 3, 4, 5, 20 years to be in a different place, or to retire, or to have a family, whatever it is. So you know that in strategic planning, it talks about goals, timing, milestones, all that. And yeah, that sounds really, really fun. But where is like how you can actually pick the right things for those goals and those milestones and that timeline? Well, answering this question about the future, it's a great starting point to start developing that timeline, that goal, that long-term plan. So, but it has to start from somewhere, and it has to start from the leader. It has to start from you. You are the one that has the vision. You are the one that has the need to develop something. And if you have the need inside of you that is like, man, I've been thinking about this for a long time, it's because there is something out in the world that needs that idea that you have. So I'm gonna talk about timing later, but answering this question about the future, it's key to then develop goals, timing, and all that good stuff. So that's the questions for the leader. And honestly, this is a big section, and you could stay here. You can spend a few days here answering these questions because they are important, and it goes into deeper than the surface of the tree. It goes deeper into your roots, and that's why it's very important to take your time answering these questions. Then we are going to talk about your target audience, and maybe here you want to develop an idea for yourself. So maybe you are your target audience and you know yourself better than anyone else. So here I want you to describe you. What makes you unique? You can even start with just the simple things, your demographics, your gender, income, where you live, Then you can start thinking about your psychographics, which is more of your interests, values, personalities, life choices. Then you can start analyzing behaviors, habits. What do you use? What you don't use? Um, Things that you recurrently do. What triggers you to make decisions? All these type of behaviors. And then here it's the only chance where I suggest for you to ask people about feedback. So if you are the product and if you're developing an idea for yourself, then fine. Go and tell other people, hey, what do you think about this idea? Not the idea. What do you think about you? There is a difference here. Here, you can ask other people if you are the product and if you are selling an idea to yourself, like for example, going back to college, then here I think it's important to get feedback from others if that is what you need. That is if you are developing an idea for yourself. If you are developing an idea for a business or for your employer, then when you're digging into the target audience, into the customer, into the client, it is crucial to ask about their feedback. You cannot develop a product, you cannot develop a promotion strategy just guessing what people want. So if you already have a clientele, or if you already have a customer base, or if you already have, or you already know who is the key decision maker to get you that promotion, whatever that is, then you need to get their feedback. And learning about what that person thinks about you or suggests you should do to reach the next level is going to be instrumental to coming up with your plan. So, hope it makes sense here what I'm talking about asking for feedback. Then we go into the partners, and I absolutely love this one. I think I'm going to show it to you. I literally have like a chart that I have here in my office with all my support system. Not only my partners, the people that help me with the business, but like the first one right here is my husband, for example, that is just giving me moral support. That's a partner. Um, a partner is that person or that company or that employee, that coworker that has different skills than you, but align in the values, in the mindset, right? You don't want to partner with your clone, with somebody that is exactly like you, because then there is no diversity there. And then if I'm partnering with somebody that is just like me, we're going to think the same, we're going to do the same, we're going to go to the same place. But if you look of partners that align with your values, they agree with your core and what you think and what you believe is right, but they have different skills that you don't have. That's when true partnership should happen and with amazing and magic things will happen, because then instead of two people joining, two of the same people joining to the same thing, you have two different people joining with two different types of expertise, making that idea growing faster and better every time. If you think that we are in 2023 and you can do everything alone, you're incorrect. We're all more connected than any before. We have more access to information and resources than ever before. So there is no need to carry all that weight on your shoulders. Go out and look who is out there. Um, Maybe make a list of the things that you're weak at, the things that you really don't have what it takes to make that idea a reality, and then go seek partners that do have that skill, right? Think about also what type of financial resources you are willing to spend in that partnership, or what time you are willing to spend on that partnership. Also think about, whenever you're looking into partners, also think about what is that partner long-term goal, and how that long-term goal that they have could fit into yours. Because that's the other thing too. Just because you find someone that is really good at something that you're not good at, it doesn't mean that it's a good partner right away, because maybe that person doesn't want to go on the same journey that you want to go. So you don't want to fight that either. Especially when it comes to employees. If you are a business owner and have employees, which are your partners, but if that employee is in in a different mindset, you guys are not going to go anywhere. So partners, think about your support system, your friends, your family. Think about that people, those companies. There are many people out there that have skills and that are experts on something that you don't have, and how you can join efforts. Also think about technology. And now that I'm doing this business, and it's just me and a whole bunch of people that are helping me with freelancing or with internships, just other support. I've been finding amazing tools that are making my job easier, that I never knew about. And it's like, well, if I can rely on technology, for example, AI, and and writing things that I don't have, or Canva actually made this amazing presentation. I just put the content in. She just created. Yeah, I gave Canva the name of she. And the ones that don't know Canva, it's a graphic design platform where you can create designs for the people that don't are not designers like me. But all those things are tools, are partners. Going back to the example of, because one of my students, she wants to find like a second source of income. So find partners out there who is on who is like a good person, a leader matter expert on finding second source of income, that you can find a book that you can read. Those are partnerships as well. So I want you to think of partnerships in a more global way and answer these questions. And then the last aspect is the competitors. I don't want you to think about competitors as your rivals, as your enemy, as you're like, oh my God, here it comes. No, I want you to think about your competitors as the second choice that your audience has. If you are developing an idea just for you, for your own purposes, that competitor is what I was saying before. It could be the couch, Netflix, your family. It could be whatever else that you could be doing other than developing your idea. That is a big competitor. If you're more into the business side, then a competitor, yes, is that person that offers the same services that you offer. And I also want you to think about indirect competitors. An indirect competitors is a company that is not in the same space, but could provide the same type of benefit. So a company that is not in the same space, but could provide the same benefit. Example, coffee and water and sodas. They all have the same idea of hydrating or giving a beverage to the consumer. But a coffee drinker, it may more likely they're always gonna have coffee, but there was a day that maybe they're just going grab the bottle of water instead, or they just go and grab a Coke or a Pepsi instead. So when you think about your competitors, I don't want you just to think about your little bubble of like the people or the companies that are just like me, that I want to analyze them. I also want to think outside the box. We hear this term a lot, but what is a true example of thinking outside the box? Looking at your indirect competitors, because you could find ideas from those indirect competitors, or you can find partnerships in business propositions. So analyze them, analyze your direct and indirect. What are they offering? What are their strengths? What are their weaknesses? What is their pricing strategy? What they're doing in marketing? What reputation they have in the marketplace? All that information is going to help you, not so that you can copy them or you feel intimidated because they have this big budget and they're doing these amazing things. No, it's not about those things. It's about, again, thinking about they are the second choice. So I'm going to think about them with an open mind. I'm actually going to change my mindset from protecting my brand to actually curiosity and see, okay, what are they doing? Let me learn about them, because they are there, they're part of your foundation, and they're actually going to make your business stronger if you're paying attention to what they're doing. So there you have it. I know that it's a lot, but at the same time, it's simple. Just think about a tree as your idea. And for the outside, for what you could see easier and what people could see easier, you're going to develop your marketing mix, the 4 P's of marketing, which is you're going to develop your product, your price, your place, and your promotion. But also at the same time, I don't want you to forget about the foundation, because that part, the people part, is what's going to make that little tree into a bigger thing. Now, this framework, I guarantee you that it's going to help you take something very small, that idea, into something big like a tree. It's not going to happen overnight. And there are going to be changes, a lot of changes, just as the leaves of trees change according to the seasons of the year. But as every new season comes and go, and as every new year comes and go, your idea, I know that it's going to get stronger and stronger, bigger and bigger, and then you're going to see that it's going to be a reality, whatever you imagined on that first day. So here is where I want to propose to you to give yourself the gift of time, because coming up with your key business structure, it's a lot. I'm not going to lie that it's a lot, but guess what? You don't have to do it all at once. You 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 don't you. I think society get us on these things that we're rushed, that we don't have time, we don't have time, we don't have time. Yes, we do have time. And I think for what I see that everybody attending here today, I guarantee you that you can go to either your phone back 5 years or to your photos from 20 years ago, and then you're gonna see, oh my God, all this time actually went by. We do have time. It's about what we do with it, right? So this is something that you don't have to rush it and finish it in one day. Maybe you give yourself time until next time that we meet, which is the next 18th of the month, and you start developing your tree. And then maybe you start just one question at a day. You start writing it down, and then the next day you come and you start writing the other one down, because that's the other recommendation that I have. I do want you to please write it down, because that process, it actually slows down your mind a little bit, and it makes you think harder on what you're writing down. So that's one benefit. The other benefit is that all those things that you have in your mind are going to be on paper, and then you can rest. So what I recommend is that you pick some days that you're going to work on this questionnaire, which, by the way, we have the handout, and I'm also going to send you some links. You can see all the questions. So you can just start writing down all those questions, then close your book, set it aside, go and do whatever you have to do, and then 2-3 days later, come back and review your answers. Maybe edit them, highlight the ones that really stands out to you, delete other ones that you don't want, play with it. And I guarantee you that if you do that exercise, you're actually gonna see the answers that you've been looking for right in there. So if you need help, I have many options to help you. So the handout is right there in the webinar section where you can download it. I'm also going